Will getting the COVID vaccine cause COVID wastewater levels to rise? The answer may shock you. It's no. In fact, if anything, a mass COVID vaccination event would cause COVID wastewater levels to decrease. But why won't the COVID vaccine show up in wastewater levels from what we typically use to detect COVID? Well, this is predominantly for two reasons. The first being that the mRNA vaccine and the protein based vaccine don't cause viral replication. They don't cause viral shedding because you're not producing a live virus. The mRNA vaccine will cause you to produce spike proteins from your own cells. However, that's all they can do. They don't generate RNA for the virus particle itself, so they're not going to be detected in the wastewater, and there hasn't been any evidence that you actually even shed these in your urine or in your feces. This also means that you will not become infected with COVID from receiving the vaccination because the COVID vaccine does not encode for the virus, it just encodes for the spike proteins, the surface of COVID, not COVID itself. The second reason why it won't show up in the wastewater is because we don't directly detect for the vaccine or for those spike proteins. For instance, BioBot will look at RNA copies per milliliter of sewage. So this is the direct genetic material that encodes for COVID itself. And this is also the material that's needed to do genetic testing on COVID to show what type of variant it is. And while other wastewater surveillance programs like Wastewater Scan detect for an N gene and an S gene, Wastewater Scan instead focuses primarily on the N gene for COVID, that nucleocapsid protein, as opposed to the S gene for the spike protein. So any way you really slice it, the COVID vaccine is not going to be detected within the wastewater. It's not going to be influencing the results, causing an increase in wastewater. That's not going to happen. That's not possible. If anything, lots of people getting vaccinated will result in a decrease in COVID wastewater levels.